Hi, everyone. My name is TJ Hailstock with the National Sports Media Association. Today, I'm with the 2022 Alabama Sportswriter of the Year, Nubyjas Wilborn.
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
You know, it is still a wild thing that still is sinking in that, winning something like that in a state
Right,
where people take sports really seriously. So just
right,
trying to hope I continue to work that shows that I deserve it.
right. Well, my first question for you was actually, what does receiving this award mean to you?
Jeez, where do I start, man? And I had to do some looking. I'm still trying to make sure, but I probably might be the first African American to win the award, or one of at least very few, as far as in the state of Alabama.
Right.
And considering what the state of Alabama has been as far as history, I mean, we could go on down the line, Selma, Montgomery, all these places where also people read my work.
Right.
And to be a black man to win something like that in a state where, hell, we weren't allowed to read and write for a long time.
Yes.
And to be considered the best writer, and considering the other writers who, even just my guys who, even we were in the final group, like
Mhm.
Justin Ferguson is an incredibly talented writer, and Ben Thomas, like these are all talented people that I either work with or cover a beat with, and
Mhm.
also cover a very wild, crazy fan base. So that also leads to it too. And also just getting these opportunities, getting to cover stuff in the SEC, especially considering what our people have gone through. I look, it ain't just about me, man. And I've been nothing but blessed and fortunate and just thankful.
Right. So what was your first job in this business? What was your first job?
Oh, geez. Okay. I started, well, I guess we'll say paid job. I had a bunch of little internships, things like that weren't getting paid. I don't count if you get paid. But
Right.
um, my entry point was I was doing stuff at WCLK 91.9, which is a jazz and gospel NPR station that operates out of the campus of Clark Atlanta University. Okay.
Right.
And we would broadcast Clark Atlanta football and basketball games, men's and women's basketball, as well as football, maybe some baseball here and there. And I started doing play by play, but also doing updates on the local radio station, different sports updates. From there, I built into freelance writing for pretty much anywhere that would take my copy. Uh, hey, I found out the Boston Herald didn't travel to beat writer. I'm gonna reach out to their sports editor and see if they want a gamer, and that would get me a credential and access, and just kept getting credentials, kept getting access, kept doing work, and just kept plugging, dude.
All right. Long trip. You actually knocked out my next question too, which how do you get to where you are now? So you kind of covered that with that answer.
Well,
So
part of it though. I mean,
part
like
of it,
that's geez, that's the beginning of it. Then
right?
going from there to doing some stuff with Fox Sports South, where it's kind of a
Mhm.
digital team covering ACC, SEC. Going from there to Cleveland, Ohio to cover preps, working from preps up to doing some small colleges, up to helping out with Cavs, then doing stuff with ESPN radio up there. Going from there, moving to Tallahassee, where I covered healthcare,
Okay.
like healthcare, fitness, and food. So I'm writing stories
Okay.
about chefs. I'm writing healthcare. We're still kind of tied into sports because I can still
Mhm.
occasionally do stuff with Florida State and FAMU about like their athletes' nutrition, stuff like that. So it kind of kept my foot in, but also I have a much better understanding of the injuries,
Right.
which is both good or bad. Like it makes me more empathetic with the athlete, but also it's like, oh, whoa. Yeah, fans, that's more painful than you realize. Then
Right.
from there, back to Atlanta, where I worked for the Mayor Daily Journal, covering Braves with a wonderful guy named John, who is really great editor, got me involved in APSC. From there, did some freelance for the Athletic, moved up to Pittsburgh for the work for the Post Gazette, covering Pirates, Penn State, Duquesne, Robert Morris, and then being up there. And this is the part where I was up there during the middle of the quarantine and everything, right when everything hit,
Mhm.
coming back from spring training in Florida, like literally being in Central Florida where all the stuff was coming, leaving, flying out of Tampa because the Pirates train in Bradenton. And I get a call about my brother having some real serious health issues and stuff like that, and end up being like needing a heart transplant. And so I spent a lot of that year and really the next year trying to be there for him. And then finally, an opportunity opened up with AL.com to cover Auburn, which is about an hour, 20 minutes from our familiar home in Atlanta. So I was like, okay, I couldn't find a gig I wanted in Atlanta, wasn't the right situation. But found this and I'm like, hey, I'm going to attack it hard, and got here. And then, first full season, with the help of my co-writer, Tom Green, the editor, sports editor, John Talty, who was our sports editor at the time, Izzy Gould, and, so many people there. Ron Johnson, you know what I'm saying? Like the people who helped me and just getting these opportunities and just doing good work. Also, it kind of helped cover the coaching coup and all the other things, the machinations that have been Auburn. So if nothing else, you're going to have something interesting to read when it comes to Auburn athletics.
Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. So in terms of other sports writers and people in the business, who do you look up to? Who did you read?
Jesus, we could be here for an hour, but obviously starting with like Ralph Wiley is someone who I looked up to. I mean, you talk about the Stephen H. Smiths in the world, and hey, kids, at one point, Stephen H. Smith wrote things very well. You see him on the TV today, but he wrote things for a long time. Wilbon, I have a friend, Jason Jones, who's out West Coast, who covered the Kings for a long time. My dear departed brother, Sekou Smith, who passed away a year or so ago with COVID, who covered the Hawks very well. Steve Weiss. My gosh, dear Orlando Ledbetter who also was a state winner. He won the Georgia Award. That's my guy, man. And I've just been so blessed by so many people who have poured into me and just given me their time. And I feel bad naming people because I will miss somebody. Like Bomani Jones I kind of consider him a peer because we're similar age, but like I loved reading his stuff on ESPN too. There's a couple of writers who I used to like who I don't necessarily care for anymore, but that happens. But overall, man, I've just been very blessed and very fortunate to be in a situation where I can see people who look like me that make me believe that I can do it. And hopefully, God willing, Jesus, that I'm able to give some of that back.
Right. So what advice do you have for upcoming college and high school students who want to do what you do, get to where you are?
Don't. No, I'm just joking. But, because somebody said it to me earlier, because, this is a tough business, man. It is a grind, and it is a harder grind than it has ever been, okay? As far as the content you have to produce, the way you have to produce it, starting with the most simple thing is get good at everything. Like learn how to shoot video, learn how to do social, learn the TikTok, learn everything you can. But writing will always be the foundation of whatever it is you do, whether it be TV, radio, whatever. You got to be able to write, okay? Also, maybe take some classes that teach you some social graces, how to interact and engage with people. But most importantly, man, make sure you find some people in your life who don't give a darn about, especially when you're talking about sports shows, who don't idolize the athletes, who aren't all googly-eyed about what you do, who just care about you for you. Because there's going to be times where the last thing you want to talk about is what happened in the ball game.
Right. Like get away from work a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that was my last question for you. Thank you so much for being with us today. And that's it.
Hey, thank you, man.
Thank you.